Hello. Okay, continue. Oh, okay. Microphone. Okay. Okay. This is Intermediate Algebra, and this is the textbook we're using. Fourth edition Intermediate Algebra by Martin Gay. And today we're going to be doing exercise set 2.1. We're going to do every other even number. Okay, so here's the first one. It says, is 15 a solution of x over -3 equals -5. Okay, so this is a problem where you want to evaluate an expression for a particular value of x. In this case, we're going to put in the 15. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take the x, put in the 15, see what I get. Now, 15 divided by 3 is 5. And the negative on the bottom is the same as a negative on the top. So this left-hand side definitely is equal to -5. So you might say question mark, but the answer is yes. This does equal -5. And this is just using the rules of negative numbers, dividing them. So I'm not going to go through every step about negative numbers because I just want to get you to get a feel for how to manipulate negative numbers, just like you would manipulate physical objects if you were an athlete and you needed to train. Okay, let's try the next one. Next one is number 6. Is -1 a solution of 6 minus 2x equal 4? Okay, I'm going to take the -1, put it into the x, and I'm going to get 6 minus 2 times -1. Now, I put in parentheses because I had a -1, and this is being multiplied. So if I just put a -1 there, it would make that look confusing. So I use parentheses a lot so that the expression is not ambiguous. Okay, -2 times -1. That's a +2. So that's 6 plus a +2. And of course, that's equal to 8. And that's not going to be equal to 4. So the answer on this one is no. -1 is not a solution of this. 6 plus 2 equals 8. Okay? Okay, well, let's try the next one. If you have any comments or questions, just include those below in on the section for comments. Okay, let's go to problem 10. Is 12 a solution of 5 times x minus 6 equals 30? Now, after you get good at these with practice, you can some of these you could just do in your head. But I'm going to write them out in a bit of a shorthand because I do this type of thing all the time. I'm very good at it. But because this is for instruction, I'll always write it down. 5, 12 minus 6, so I'm just plugging in the 12. Now this is equal to 5 times 6, which will equal 30. So the answer on this one is yes, it is equal to that. Okay. Now we're going to go to number 14. This one is a little different. It says solve and check each equation. So now we have a different type of a problem. The first one was basically just plugging it in, and now we're going to do some solving. So this one is -2x equals 18. How are we going to solve this? Okay, well the way I'm going to do this Well, the way you do it is you divide the right-hand side and the left-hand side by the same quantity. And the quantity that you're going to want to use here is going to be the -2. Divide this side by -2. You divide this side by -2. This now cancels out, and you have x equal to 18 divided by -2. Okay? So what I'll do is, instead of writing everything down, I'll use my eraser. This -2, 9, -2, that's equal to 1. Any number divided by itself is equal to 1. Now 18 divided by 2 is 9. And the negative on the bottom can just be moved up to the top. The answer is -9. Okay? So that's one way to do it. That's a little bit of a slow way. There are quicker ways to do it. For example, let me just do it again. -2x equals 18. And I'll show you this little way of doing it. It's just a way of thinking about it. Rather than divide both sides by -2, I'll actually just take this one and put it down underneath that one, because when you take something that's multiplied and you bring it to the other side of the equation, you can just put it underneath. That gives you the same answer as dividing both sides. And it makes it just one step quicker if you're writing it out. And in your head, you're manipulating the numbers. You're moving them around to get the answer. And that allows you to do more in your head. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Next one is going to be number 18. Y minus 8.6 equals -6.3. Okay, now what we're going to do with this one is we're going to add a number to both sides of the equation, because we want to isolate the unknown to be on one side. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 8.6 to both sides of the equation. And this side is going to just become y, because these two will cancel. And this side is going to be 8.6 positive and a -6.3. So that's 8.6 minus 6.3. Because that's a negative, and that's going to be 0.3. That's going to be negative. That's going to be 2.3. When you subtract it, you're going to get 2.3. So you can either, this is adding the positive number or the negative number, but that's the same as subtracting the number that's negative from the positive number. But that's manipulating the numbers. Y equals 2.3, that's the answer to the problem. As we go on to similar problems, I'll probably do them a little bit more rapidly, just to show you not every single step, because I'll try to show the steps the first time we do a problem, but then not to show all the steps in every case. Okay, so the first thing we want to do on this side, this one, is first we're going to want to get the 10 over to the other side. So we're going to subtract 10.3 to both sides. So I could say subtract 10.3, subtract 10.3. Then the equation is going to read -6x. And on this other side, it's going to be -12.6. Because I'm going to add these two negative numbers. That's going to give me -12.6. Now the next step is going to be to divide both sides by the -6 to get the -6 down below on the other side. So I'm going to divide both sides by -6. That's going to cancel, and on this side we're going to have the x all by itself now. And that's going to be equal to -12.6 divided by -6. Now the two negative signs are going to cancel each other. And that's the same as 12.6 divided by 6. And you can use a calculator for that. 12 divided by 6 is 2. The final answer is going to be 2.1, because the 0.6 divided by 6 is 0.1. and 6 times 2.1 is 12.6. So I just did that in my head because I'm used to dividing numbers a lot. Okay, 2.1, that's the answer on that one. Okay, good. Now we'll go to the next one. Let's see, that was number 18. Now we're going to go to 22. 10.3 minus 6x. Oh, this looks very similar. Equals, oh, I guess that was the one we just, yep, that was what we just did. I'm sorry, my problem. On to 26. Okay, here we go. 13x minus 15x plus 8 equals 4x plus 2 minus 24. So the idea on this is to try to group like terms together. When you have a lot of terms with the x and you have terms without the x. So we'll put all the terms with the x on this side and the terms without the x on the other side. So we'll put the 4x on this side. That's going to come over as a negative 4. You get 13 minus 15. So all the x terms are going to be on this left side. The 13x minus 15x minus 4x. And we're going to put just the terms without the x on the other side. That's going to be 2 minus 24 and then minus the 8. Now we'll just do these additions and subtractions. Okay. 13 minus 15, that's negative 2. Negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. So on this side, it's going to be negative 6x. And on this side over here, we've got a positive 2, a negative 24, and a negative 8. So I'll just take the negative 24 and the negative 8 to make negative 32. Positive plus a positive 2, and that's going to make a negative 30. Okay? We got a negative side on both sides. We're going to move the 6 over to the other side by dividing both sides by 6. The negative signs are going to cancel out. We're just going to cancel them out. And we're going to move the 6 over to the other side. Just move it down. We're dividing both sides by 6, but we're just going to move it down because now we're learning how to do a shortcut, how to just manipulate that. And 30 divided by 6 is certainly 5. So 5 is the answer to this question. Okay? Now we're going to go on to problem 30, which reads like this. 2 times 4x plus 3 equals 7x plus 5. Well, we're going to want to group terms together. But on this one, we've got a more complicated expression on the left-hand side at first. So we're going to multiply each of these by the 2, just so that we can group it more easily. 2 times 4x plus 3, that's 8x plus 6. Because it's the same as having the 2 times each one of these individually. That's equal to 7x plus 5. We're going to move the 7x onto this side. We're going to move the 6 onto this side. We're going to get 8x minus 7x. We're going to get 5 minus 6. That's going to give us an x, and it's going to equal a negative 1. So the answer on that one is negative 1. Yep, that was number 30. Now we're going to go to 34. Negative 4 times 3n minus 2 minus n equals negative 11 times n minus 1. Okay, we're going to want to get all the n's together. First, let's multiply by this negative 4. This is going to be a negative 12 times n. And the negative 4 times the negative 2 is going to be a positive 8. And then we're going to have the negative n, and that's equal, and this is called the distributive property. We're going to distribute the 11 onto each of these two terms. Negative 11n plus 11. Now we can start putting all the n's on one side. Negative 12n, negative n. We're going to bring the negative 11n over to the other side where it becomes a positive 11n. Okay, and then we're going to take the 8, move the 8 to this side, move the 11n over to that side. It's going to become a negative 8 when it goes to the other side, plus 11. Okay, so negative 12 and negative n, negative 1, that's negative 13n, plus 11n, that's actually going to be a negative 2n. And negative 8 and a positive 11 is going to be a positive 3. So the n is going to be equal to 3 divided by the negative 2. That's negative 3/2, which is also the same as negative 1.5. Either of those would be the correct answer. Okay, that was 34. Okay, now we'll go to 38. Okay, 38 says 4r over 5 minus 7 equals r over 10. Okay, you want to get all the r's by themselves, and you want the other numbers that are not the r on the other side. And in this case, we've also got these numbers on the bottom that are making it a little bit more complicated. So I think a good idea, what I would normally do is multiply the whole equation through by one of these numbers that are on the bottom. In this case, the 10 is going to work out better. Basically, if I multiply both sides by 10, that's going to cancel these out. Okay, let's just do that. Multiply both sides by 10. Multiply this side by 10. I multiply this side by 10. Those 10s cancel. This 10 and that 5 is going to be 2. And the 10 times the 7 is going to be 70. So on this side, you're going to get 10 times 4r over 5 minus 70 equals r. Those cancel to make it 2. And that gives you an 8. 2 times 4 is 8r minus 70 equals r. Still want to get the r over to the other side. Get the 70 onto this side. That's going to be 7r. Oh, I'm getting right to the bottom. Okay, 7r equals 70. And let's put that up here. That's going to be, I'll just bring that up here. 7r equals 70. Bring the 70 over to the other side where we put it on the bottom. R equals 70 divided by 7. That's 10. R equals 10. That's the answer for this one. R equals 10. Now I don't want to go too fast because I want you to see some of the steps, but I don't want to go too slow because I don't want to fill up more than one board here. Okay, and the idea on this stuff by practicing this is actually to do more steps at once, or do more in your head, or to cross things out so you can proceed without writing things on a lot of lines. Okay, but writing them on the lines is fine. You always get the right answer. Okay, but that's how you start. Once you get confidence, then you don't write down all the lines. Okay, now we'll go 42. 0.3 times x plus 2.4 equals 0.1 x plus 4. Okay, we want to get the x's. We want to get the x's on one side. We'll want to get the other numbers on the other side. So we're going to have 0.3 x minus 0.1 x is equal to negative 2.4 plus 4. Okay, and this is going to be 0.2 x on this side, and 4 take away 2.4, that's going to be 1.6. 1.6. Okay, so x is going to be 1.6 divided by 0.2. And you can do that on a calculator, but I know that 0.2 is 1/5. You divide by a fifth, that's the same as multiplying by 5. Five times 1.6, that's equal to 8, because 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 0.6 is 3, 5 plus 3 is 8, this is actually equal to 8. That's the answer here. Okay, I just did a little manipulation with the decimal points. The other way to do that, of course, actually is you can take away both those decimal points and you get 16 divided by 2. That'll give you the same answer. That gives you 8 too. That's even quicker than what I did. Okay, the answer is 8. That was 42. So now we'll do 46. Okay, 2.4. 2x plus 3 equals negative 0.1. 2x plus 3. Now, if I do make any mistakes on this, please add a comment, because everybody makes mistakes. I'm trying to be careful, but now the interesting thing about this, right off the bat, it's very interesting. This is unusual because you can see both sides of this equation have a 2x plus 3 and a 2x plus 3 in it. It's quite unusual. I could actually cancel those both out, and this equation says 2.4 equals negative 0.1, so this equation is a very irregular equation. It's not going to come out correctly. So let's do this. I don't want to divide both sides by 2x plus 3 because that could be an illegal operation if that expression is equal to 0. What's safer is to put this onto the other side. So this would be 2.4 times 2x plus 3 plus 0.1 times 2x plus 3 equals 0. Okay, that's perfectly valid. I didn't divide by anything. Dividing is dangerous. So this is an example where my first instinct, I was about to make a mistake by dividing both sides by 2x plus 3. That would be valid except for the one case when 2x plus 3 is equal to 0, which happens when x is equal to negative 2/3, negative 3/2, I'm sorry. So that's what the actual answer to this is going to be. This actually reads 2.5 now times 2x plus 3 equals 0. Now, for 2.5 times this object equal to 0, that object is equal to 0. So basically, for example, I can bring 2.5 down to the bottom on this side, cancel it out, okay? But of course, that's just 0. This equation is basically, what this equation is basically saying is that 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. It's just dressed up a little bit. And that means that 2x is equal to negative 3, or x is equal to negative 3 divided by 2, because I brought the 2 from one side down to the bottom on the opposite side. Negative 3/2, or negative 1.5, if you want to do it in decimals. Okay, yeah, see I ran off the bottom a little bit there. I'm going to start a little bit higher. Okay. There you go. Negative 3/2. Okay. So that was 46. That was a tricky one. They were trying to trick us. Okay, 46. Now let's go to number 50. 4 times x plus 2 plus 4 is equal to 4x minus 8. Okay, So we want to group the like terms. We want to get the x's on one side. So we'll multiply this out. 4x plus 8 plus 4 is equal to 4x minus 8. Okay, this is looking a lot like another trick. This looks like another trick question. We put the 4x on this side and put these two numbers over on the other side. So this is actually, when I put the 4x on this side, it's going to be negative 4x. That's equal to, that's 12. Negative 8 minus 12. Well, this side is 0. And this side is actually reading negative 20. So what happens is, this equation will never be true. There is no solution of x to satisfy this equation. So when it says solve this equation, it can't be solved for any value of x. There's no value of x that solves this. So no solution. Okay. Now, not every equation has a solution, so that's actually, it doesn't, that's not to bother you. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it said solve the equation. This equation doesn't have a solution. No solution. Okay. Okay, 54 is the next one. 9 times x minus 2 equals 8 x minus 3 plus x. So they've been giving us some tricky ones. The one thing that you just have to worry about is you can't divide by 0. That's undefined. Sometimes that gives you a trick. So we want to get the x's on one side. So this one is going to be 9x minus 18 equals to 8x minus 24 plus x. So here I'm just going to add these together, make it a 9. Okay, 9x and 9x, same as before. Those cancel. They're on both sides. I can cancel them out. And this is going to say negative 18 is equal to negative 24. No solution. In other words, there's no such value of x. No matter what number of x you try to put in here, you'll never come up with a number which is going to satisfy this equation. There is no solution. Okay, that was 54. So now we're going to go to 58. Okay, 58 says 4x minus 7 equal to 2x minus 7. Okay, minus 7 and minus 7. I can bring this 7 on the other side, where it's going to exactly cancel this one. So I can actually just take those and rub them out. Okay, now I can move this over to this side. I can't divide. I can divide by the 2, but I can't divide by the x, because the x might be a 0. Okay, if I bring this to the other side, I get 4x minus 2x equals 0. That'll say 2x equal to 0. And that means that x is equal to 0 divided by 2, which is equal to 0, or x equals to 0. The only solution for this, for 4 times a quantity to equal 2 times a quantity, the only solution for that equation is when x is equal to 0. Okay? And the thing about that is if I divided both sides by x, which this is why this is a little bit of a trick question when you do something like this. You divided both sides by x, you'd have 4 equals to 2. And you'd say, oh, now that's impossible. But dividing both sides by x is only valid in cases when x is not equal to 0. This equation actually has a solution, which is x equal to 0. When x equal to 0, this is actually a true equation. Okay? But 4 equals 2 is never a true equation. So dividing by x, in this case, is a dangerous step to do algebraically if you're solving an equation. Whenever you divide by x, you have to write a little note. You have to say, I could divide by x, and I could say, divide both sides by x if x is not equal to 0. Then I can cancel both sides, and I can say 4 equals to 2 if x is not equal to 0. So we know that 4 is not equal to 2. We know that's true, so that means that, but that expression only was valid if x was not equal to 0. When x is equal to 0, then you don't get 4 equals to 2, you get 0 equals to 0. Anyway, you better be very, very careful when you divide both sides of an equation by an expression that involves x. That's, I think, the key here, what they're trying to get across. Okay, that was 58. Now we'll go on to 62. Minus w plus 0.2 is equal to 0.3 times 4 minus w. Okay, we want to get all the w's on one side, so we're going to multiply this by the negative 1 on both these terms to get negative w, negative 0.2. This side we're going to get 0.3 times 4, that's 1.2, minus 0.3 w's. Okay, then we're going to bring the w's to one side, going to bring these to the other side. We got negative w, negative, well this is a negative 0.3, so that's going to come across to the other side as 0.3 w. This negative 0.2 comes to the other side as a positive 0.2. Okay, so this is negative 1.3. No, I'm sorry. It's a negative 1 and a positive 0.3. So that's negative 0.7 w on that side. And on this side, it's going to be 1.4. So w is going to be 1.4 divided by the negative 0.7. And 1.4 divided by 0.7 is the exact same as 14 divided by 7. Just like before, that decimal point could be taken away. The negative sign is, whether it's on the bottom or the top, it's still a negative. So that's negative 2. W equals negative 2. That's the solution to this one. Okay, that's 62. Now we'll go to 66. We're going to go up to 72, I guess. Or 70. Maybe it's just 70. Okay. 9c, so we're almost done. 9c minus 3 times 6 minus 5c equals c minus 2 times 3c plus 9. Okay, so they're just making this messier with more terms, but we're going to do this exact same technique. Minus 18 plus 15c. Now you can see I'm basically doing more in my head now. That's negative 3 times 6 for a negative 18. Negative 3 times negative 5 for a positive 15. Now on the right hand side, we're going to have a c. We're going to have a negative 6c. We're going to have a negative 18. Now we have all the c terms. So on this side over here, we're going to have a 9c. We got 15c. The c minus 6c is negative 5c. It comes over to the other side as positive 5c. So I did some of that in my head. The 18 comes over to this side as positive 18. Minus 18. So those go away. We got 0 on this side. And here we got 29c equal to 0. And that means that c is equal to 0. So a lot of these have been, the only solution we're getting is c equals 0 for the variable. Okay, then there's only one left. That's number 70. Because we're doing every other even one up to 70. Okay, n plus 1 over 8 minus 2 minus n over 3 equals 5, 6. So this is just like doing exercises. Okay? Okay, so now, how are we going to clean this up? Well, we're going to multiply through to get rid of these numbers on the bottom. I'm going to multiply through by 8, for example. I'm going to put this. Get rid of that, and I'm going to have an 8 here, and an 8 up here. 8 times 5 is 40. Okay? 40. Sorry. Okay, but 40 and 6 is the same as 20 over 3 because they share factor of 2. 20 over 3. Now I'm going to multiply the equation through by the 3. Just get rid of that 3. So 3 times 8 is going to be 24. And plus 1. I'm sorry. Minus. Now that 3 that I'm multiplying is going to kill this 3 and this 3. So I'm just going to end up with an 8 on the top. 2 minus n equals 20. Okay. That got rid of all the numbers that were on the bottom. Okay. Now I can put the n's together. I get a 24n plus 24 minus 16 plus 8n equals 20. That's going to be 32n. 24 and negative 16, that's a positive 8. That positive 8 is going to go on the other side of the negative 8. So we're going to get on this side 20 minus 8. That's going to be equal to 12. 32n equals to 12. N is equal to 12 over 32. And that's the same as 6 over 16 or 3 over 8. So according to what I have, n is equal to 3/8. And this was a little bit messy. I could have made a mistake. So you could go back in and check your answer, or you could go through it again more carefully. The idea is to get practice at this. And if you find out that you don't think n is equal to 3/8, give me a note. I think that's the right answer. Okay, that's all for today on this exercise. It's for 2.1. Thanks. Bye.